Katie Young. Welcome to Common Sense CEO. Couple of things just to preface it. So you are a business owner, own restaurants, particularly in our little corner of the world, Hays County, the hottest new restaurant going, in my opinion, in Hays County. What I love about it is it's kind of a vibe, right? It's different than a lot of the restaurants we have around here. And in particular, because we have a very busy life, for my husband and I, we only get to do date nights on Mondays. So I like that I'm going into a restaurant on a Monday night and it's still a vibe. It's still good staff. It's still great food. So that's always fun for me. But let's take it all the way back, because you are not just a business owner. You're a mom of 2 children who now work at the restaurant, right?
Well, one works at the restaurant and one is in the hospitality industry.
Okay. So
yes.
Obviously it rubbed off on them. And then you own this with your husband, Doug. So let's go all the way back, because Doug owns some other restaurants as well, and talk about, one, how'd you meet Doug? Where'd you meet Doug? You can give whatever version of that story you want. And then also, how did y'all find yourselves in the restaurant business?
Absolutely. So Doug and I were both at school in San Marcos.
Okay.
Southwest.
I was going to say
point.
Southwest
Yes.
Texas for all of you young kids.
You.
That's what it
all
was
of
called.
You pups, yes. Yeah. The OG, Southwest. So we met our senior year. So it was the perfect time right after I said I was never going to date any more boys, that I was done.
Perfect.
I was just going to have the best time of my life my last semester, and then promptly met Doug.
Yep, that happens.
So we actually met in Austin, serendipity. He was with his brother, and I was with a girlfriend that knew his brother. So we had a common connection. Started dating and dated for 3 years, got married a little while later. Yeah,
okay.
So
when you met Doug, were y'all working in the restaurant business, bartending? Because I know that's how I got through college. And so I'm excited to hear all the fun stories, because
yes, Doug has some fun stories.
Yeah,
yes.
It's quite the industry, if you don't know. It's definitely a different lifestyle in that, you're not up at 7 working 9 to 5. It's a totally different schedule. And so I can only imagine, again, having kids and everything else, what that looked like. So let's fast forward to what got Doug into the industry, and then how was that for you as a wife and mom? Because I would imagine he wasn't on a normal schedule like most husbands.
No normal schedule. So when we met, he was bartending.
Yeah.
He has been in the restaurant business actually since he was 15. He started out at Lone Star Cafe for all of you.
Oh my gosh, Lone Star, the best black eyed peas ever. Yeah.
So started there, and when I met him, he was bartending at Z Tejas on 6th Street. So he would work the weekends there and then come back to San Marcos on the weekdays. So, or drive back and forth depending. So it wasn't that far. So when we met bartending, and then he managed, and then when he graduated with his degree in finance from Southwest, they were offered him a management position, and then he eventually opened the North Z Tejas at the Arboretum as an operating partner.
Cool.
So long time in the restaurant business, always, most people in the restaurant business, they're doing it just to get through, like college or fun, or they want to do something of their own. Sure. And so really that was his dream, was to do something of his own.
Learn all the ins and outs.
And outs. And he literally has learned everything from dishwasher to operating partner and now to owner.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very cool. And so y'all get married when?
We got married in 1995.
And when did you have your first child?
1998.
You look great, by the way. What were you, 12 when you got married?
Yes,
okay.
12.
And
yes,
98?
Riley was born in 1998.
Okay. And so at this point, she's born. He's still managing partner, so he still doesn't have a normal schedule. And then at some point, someone says, "Hey, let's open cover 3."
Oh, wouldn't it have been great if it had been such a pointed,
it was just like
straight arrow?
Yeah.
No, that's not how that worked. But yes, we pretty much. I had Riley in '98, and then Jack went in 2000. So 2 young kids with. I mean, if anybody knows anything about the restaurant business, it is a vibe, and it is totally different, just like you said. So literally, the kids and I spent a lot of time at the restaurant.
Sure.
We ate there,
every meal.
Yeah, a lot of meals. If we wanted to see Dad, we went up there. Luckily, he worked at the Arboretum, so there was a duck pond across the street. We did a lot of duck ponding.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just how they were raised, and I don't think they ever knew anything different.
Well,
so... it worked out.
I say it all the time. So I have kind of stumbled into being the director of a softball organization, which is great.
Yeah.
And luckily, both my children play softball and baseball. But I like every now and then I stop and look around when we're in the batting cages and think to myself, my kids' memories are going to be I grew up in a batting cage, which is fine. And I think that'd be great. But it is funny how you just don't know any different. I actually spoke with James about it on the podcast that I did with my dad. My dad runs treatment centers, which when you're 7 and 8 years old, you think you are on vacation. I mean, those poor people hated us because we were swimming in the pool and splashing them and playing pool and throwing pool balls and running around. And here they are in probably some of the darkest times of their life. And there's an 8 and 11-year-old running around like, like they're just at a resort having a blast. And so, but that's what we knew. That's what we knew. And that's what your kids know. So yeah, I'm sure, and it sounds, they're already in the industry. So I imagine that'll carry on for a little while. But so he's working there, you're raising the kids. So how did it get to the point where, hey, I'm ready to not just manage someone else's business, but I'm ready to own my own? How did that happen? Because you obviously have to find the right people to get in partnership with, and you have to hope it's the right people because you're signing up for quite a lot together.
You are. So the owners of Z Tejas were very good friends of ours, and still are, and partners in several
I know one
restaurants.
of them.
It's Larry Foles and Guy Villavasso.
Okay.
So they started Z Tejas. So basically the impetus for change was that they sold.
Yeah.
So they decided to sell the package of Z Tejas. I don't remember how many units they had at that time, but
that's who I know is who they sold to.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah.
I think that was like the third sale.
Yeah.
But anywho, so they were going to sell, and so the guys were like, you know what? They got a chunk of money. So my husband ran the North Store, and then his partner Matt Dotson ran the Z Tejas on 6th. And so they said, you know what, now's the time. We got a chunk of change. We're going to kind of get together, figure out what we want to do. And they were approached by someone. So they put their eggs in the basket and they said, okay, we're going to do this. And it fell apart. And so literally here we were, a good ways into a project that did not happen.
Okay.
And so the guys went to the owners of Z Tejas, their friends, and said, hey, we got to do something. We have this idea. We want to do something around sports.
Sure.
We want to do something that is sports, but not sports food. We want to do somewhere that we have great food, but you can also come and watch a game. We want somewhere that women will come, not because of anything to do with sports, but because of our wine room, our salads, all that great stuff. And so Guy and Larry really staked us to do it.
Great.
So they partnered with us. We opened our first one in 2008, which was the year of the recession for those of you that don't know.
Yes, I recall vividly because I actually worked in radio at the time.
Yes.
So I remember when Cover 3 came to us. I used to do ad sales for the Bobby Bones show back when you could buy an ad on Bobby Bones for $150 a spot.
No longer.
Yeah, no longer. Now I'm sure he's getting paid quite a bit for his remotes. But, and so, I recall the name and y'all were up and coming and it was super hard for us too. I was also like the lowest on the totem pole on the sales team. I was the newest. And all of my local businesses, if they even stayed open, they had to cut everything, marketing budget, all of that. So, and a lot of them were restaurants. And so I know that was tough times. I even had to actually leave the station where Bobby Bones was and go to another one just to try to kind of make it. Because again, when you're the bottom of the totem pole and you only have the small clients and the small clients are the ones struggling because it's a recession, it's hard to make any money. And so I can only imagine being those small clients, especially starting, at least you started in an 2008 and not a COVID where people were still maybe eating food and going to restaurants, going to eat food, I should say. But, still that was for sure tough times for everyone. I saw that and felt that too.
Literally we would stand and people would say, are you going to open? Well, of course we're going to open. We've already raised all the money because, our model is that we don't go to banks. We get investors. So we have investors that own points in the restaurant. So we were like, we've raised this money. We're going to open.
Sure.
But then we would stand in the dining room and literally want to cry because there was no one in there.
And you're like, if you only knew how good our menu was. I mean, that is the one thing y'all definitely nailed it with Cover 3 is, at that time we were young. We didn't have kids. Once we did kind of come out of the recession and could go out to eat and all of those things, I always remember thinking like, this place's food this is it. Especially when y'all then opened, you took over the spot on 5th Street in Lamar, or 5th and
Yeah. Well, 6th and Mopac.
6th and
basically.
Mopac, yeah. That used to be a different sports bar.
Right.
Their food wasn't as good. And I vividly remember going and being like, I'm so glad that it's still a sports bar, but that the food is that macaroni and cheese, man,
it's darn good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's
still so good.
So it was 08 and you have the first store.
My favorite story actually from Cover 3 and Recession and opening is that we were in the struggle bus. I mean, it was hard. We were struggling.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. And then God stepped in.
Yeah, he does that.
He does that. So Pat Sharp, the food writer for Texas Monthly, was coming to the Village where Cover 3 is, but not to come see us. She was coming to something else and happened to stop in because the place that she wanted to go wasn't open yet. So we were open. So she just came in, sat at the bar, ordered a burger, and she put that burger on the top 50 burgers for Texas Monthly.
Wow.
And it changed our lives.
I bet.
It changed our lives.
She should get a Christmas card every year.
She just retired.
Okay.
And we literally have been trying so hard to make sure that she got what she did for us.
Yeah.
Literally, we have sent many a note to her.
Okay.
Because she saved our business.
Yeah.
We would not have survived 08 without her.
Yeah.
And I just feel like God just said, okay, hold on. Don't quit yet.
Yeah. Open
So,
that door an hour
the
before
door.
the people next door. Isn't it crazy how that works?
Yeah.
We, I think there's no doubt God has a hand in all of it, but also I think he also knows when good people are doing a good thing. And so those doors get opened, right? So Pat saved the day.
She did.
08, you made it through.
We made it through.
And so when do you open store number 2 and where is that at?
Number 2 was Cover 2.
Yeah.
Which,
And what
what
differentiates? It was just smaller?
Which was not a great idea on our part.
Like as a marketing.
No, somebody should have said, not a good idea.
I mean, I have a degree in marketing and it feels
well, we
real
did
wrong.
not.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
we
should
did
have called
not.
me. No.
Yeah, I wish we would have consulted with anyone.
Yeah.
So basically, it was a spot that came to us and said, hey, we have somebody leaving this property. We think you'd be great here. It's a smaller footprint. It actually was right in the area where Doug grew up. Doug went to Westwood High School.
Yeah,
And then
it was right across. Yeah. Anderson.
Yeah. Well,
Mill.
Anderson Mill area. Right. Yeah. And so they came to us and said, would you be interested? And we were like, heck yeah, we're doing great over here. Let's do this one. But we thought it's smaller. Let's do more shareable appetizers, more beer on tap. We have 25 beers on tap there. We'll do half bottles of wine. We'll still have great food, but it'll be more bar,
More neighborhood
smaller,
bar
more
kind
neighborhood
of. Yeah.
bar, shareable, more beers, which was fine. And it worked out great. I mean, it's still going. But, for marketing, not a good thing for us.
Because now you have 2 social media accounts and
Yes,
2
which I would really
email
like
accounts
to shoot
and
myself
2
in the toe for that.
sets of hats and 2 yeah.
Yeah. And then we opened San Antonio.
Okay.
Again, somebody came to us and said, a restaurant is leaving this beautiful building. Would you be interested? It was not somewhere we planned to go, but we did. And it's turned out great as well.
I was going to say, is it still
Huebner
there?
at 60. Yes. It's actually...
Huebner, yeah, I'm very familiar with Huebner, yeah.
Huebner in 1604. Great neighborhood, great business there. They're one of our top producing stores.
Nice.
So, yeah, who knew? And then we opened Round Rock. And that was our last store. We opened before Whiskey Ridge, and that was in 2016.
And I think that's the last one I've been to. It's right across from Dell, right? Like right across.
Yeah. It's next to Hop Dottie and
Yep.
across from Jack Allen's. We're all kind of in there in that little off settlers.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Little
Well, when
settlers.
your kids play baseball and you're up there all the time, you have to find
Yes.
somewhere to take them to eat in between
You
games.
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I like too, is like with Cover 3, it's nice. The food is great, but it's still very like kid friendly.
oh, absolutely.
It's still a bar though.
Yeah,
But
can be
it's
a bar.
still- right,
It can
that's
be
right.
yeah,
I
it's
mean-
a restaurant. It's a bar. It's all the things.
Well, and if more places did that, I think they would get more business because at least, and I think that's again where Whiskey Ridge kind of hit the nail on the head, and we'll get to that. But just if I need to bring my kids, I can, but I don't feel like I'm the jerk who brought my kids to a fancy, the nice restaurant
absolutely.
in town or whatever, or the bar. You have a baby in a bar, like you don't have to be, you don't have to
That's
be
one
that
of my
one.
favorite lines.
They did. Well, there you go.
It made it 2
it's
days
a great
in a row.
line.
Yeah.
Because every now and then people bring babies to bars, so you never know.
Yeah.
So that was 2016, and now you just opened in 2024, at the end of 24. So that's an 8-year gap there. I guess for me, for you as a mom and a wife, at that point, like, yes, obviously your husband was running it, but you weren't in the day-to-day operation.
I wasn't. I had kids.
Yeah.
You know, that was my job. And I did have I also worked in a part-time job as well. And so, yeah, I wasn't in the day-to-day. Yes, on the top level, knew what was going on, but I was busy raising my kids.
Yeah.
So, and our kids graduated 2016 and then, oh my gosh, 2019. I didn't really think about that.
Well,
yeah.
but they made it out before the COVID crazy, so that's nice.
Of high school.
Except for college, yeah, it probably affected. And so
totally.
Did they go to school around here?
Yes, my daughter went to the University of Texas, graduated in 2020, so she got just one semester of COVID.
Okay.
Which stunk because she didn't get to walk.
Man.
Yeah. But they did make it right a year later. They did have a very nice ceremony for
those
the
kids?
2020
Well, that's
graduates.
cool.
Yeah. And they had Brene Brown speak, and that was very empowering. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I left there, I was like, let's go change the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She'll do that to you.
She does do that to you. And then my son was at the University of Arkansas, graduated in 2023, but pretty much got the COVID. You know, he had one great semester.
Really?
And then the rest was not so
Dang,
great.
I would imagine Arkansas to not be as locked down as many.
Yeah,
But I guess
not as locked down, but still, you know, in the beginning, nobody knew. And they literally sent him home spring break and said, peace be with you, don't come back.
Yeah, don't come back.
And here's your computer, do everything online.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, they wanted me to do that with my kindergartner. I was like, we'll color at home alone. Thank you. But
no, thank you.
Yeah.
And Jack is not one. He doesn't, I mean, he needs to be up and moving. You know?
Well,
so yeah,
normal.
that was a learning for every of us.
So let's talk about COVID, because before you open Whiskey Ridge, you now have 3, 4, 5 restaurants open during what was a very hard time for restaurants.
Very hard time restaurants. It was life changing, actually.
Yeah. So tell us about that, because I don't think, you know, it's so amazing to me how we have recency bias to a lot of things in the moment. Like, even 1 year out of COVID, even though we knew everything was safe, people were still cautious. But you get 2 years out and it's like we have amnesia and we've totally forgotten about it. So I think so many people forget the impact, the effect it really had, especially on restaurants, bars, places like that, that if you didn't have your to-go system figured out, you were in a lot of trouble. But I also know plenty of restaurants that thrived because they did have that. And I actually have a client who is opening restaurant number 12 in San Antonio.
That's awesome.
Because their first one opened right before COVID. And the one thing that they had already really locked in was a really smart, successful menu for to go. Not sure why.
I wish we would have done that.
Right. Well, he was like, I don't know why. We just knew.
Because God said.
Yeah, that's right. Told him, yeah, you're a bar, but make sure your food can go home with people too. And so it worked out for them. But yeah, let's hear about, because, you know, you are open, established, you have multiple locations. Nobody knows this is on the horizon.
Right.
So what happened for you guys?
Well, the only good thing is that both my kids had to work with us, you know, because they were both in college and both now home. Right. So, there was a lot of people who would not work. So we were really short-staffed in the kitchen, on the floor. I mean, we were short-staffed everywhere. So our kids came, you know, and that was good. We did do a lot of pivoting. We were very lucky to be included in the governor's office did a food, can't remember exactly what it was called, but comfort food for families connected to Child Protective Services, so people could donate and buy a meal from a local restaurant. And then volunteers from the organization would deliver that meal to people that needed it. Awesome. So not only did it help restaurants, but it helps families in need during a really, really hard time.
So y'all still got paid?
Yes.
By the
donor who wanted to donate a meal to a family that needed it.
So it kept you going.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about this. These are things that, like, they should really put out for others to know more about.
Yeah, we were very lucky to be included in that. So we did that. We pivoted. We delivered for a little while meals. We did family meals. We did to go. We did all the things. I still have, you know, it was rough. Yeah. But the one thing I think that people don't even understand still is that people change their habits. So
and
many
they're
people
still changed.
Yeah, they are still changed. And I don't think people, you know, the general public gets that. Is that what used to be our lunch was huge in all of our stores. Now it's the least busy during lunch.
To lunch.
Yeah. See, people are still coming to dinner, and we have a lunch business, but it's definitely not pre-COVID.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, people changed their habits. People started working from home.
Well, that's right. So you're not out at an office where you're like, I don't want this, you know, Weight Watchers meal
thing I brought.
Yeah.
I don't want to microwave it.
That's right. And And, Bob just microwaved his leftover fish and
And
now
it's
I'm nauseous.
disgusting.
So let's go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If you're not at your office to leave to go to lunch, you're not going to lunch. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Some
See,
people change their habits.
right.
And so a lot of that hasn't, come back.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still people that live in so much fear. It's actually, and I am very grateful to have a relationship with God so that I don't live in fear. Whatever's going to happen, he's got planned anyway. So it is what it is. That's just kind of how I've always lived my life. But, I feel sorry for some of these people. I had a client email us last week. We had an event with 90 people and she was genuinely concerned. Like, I cannot believe y'all are doing an event indoors with 90 people. I said, have you never gone to a restaurant since COVID? No, I don't eat at restaurants. And I don't go to any indoor events, large gatherings.
There are a lot of people that still speak that or have that narrative and share it.
Right.
I'm like, could you stop that?
Right.
You don't have to go, but could you just be quiet?
Right. Well, and again, we'll get to this in other episodes. We always say that.
Don't get Jamie started. She and I will go on for an hour on this.
There's just so many things that we're now uncovering, I think, from, small local governments all the way up to federal, that just shows, like how much of that was exacerbated and made bigger than it needed to be. And the unfortunate thing is those who suffered from it. Now, luckily for you, you had access to those programs. You guys had the right people behind you. It sounds like you made it out somewhat unscathed, but
never unscathed.
No, yeah. So what was the collateral damage of COVID for you guys?
The collateral damage of COVID was a change in most things.
Right.
But also we did shut one store, our downtown store on 6th and Mopac. The majority of our business was lunch business.
Right.
And all those buildings sent their employees home. They weren't allowed to come to work, so there was no business, and people were scared. And we could not staff it. We didn't have enough staff to run the 4 restaurants. I mean, all 5, we couldn't.
Right.
And so initially we thought we'd just close until things changed. We thought, it'd be a couple weeks. It'll be a couple months. And then it just never changed. And so we were very lucky with our landlords there, the property owners.
I was going to ask, how does that go?
Well, it could have gone bad.
Right.
And they were an extraordinarily generous and kind and
understanding.
And just as sad as we were.
Right.
And I just want to point out, too, they still have not filled that spot.
Right.
Which is sad for them because they were kind.
Well, and it's a prime area. It's a prime location. You're talking right off Mopac, 6th Street. For those of you who've never been to Austin, that's like downtown. I mean, that's where you want to be.
And you could walk to ACL and Zilker from there.
Right.
Yeah,
and,
there's a path.
And to your point, there's a ton of businesses that some are now back, but a lot that maybe aren't, that were always around there. So it is kind of a blow. What most people know about that area, so this might give some context, is the Arroyo Doble sign.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
El Arroyo.
Sorry.
El Arroyo.
El Arroyo sign.
Yes.
Yes.
That was
El
across
Arroyo
the street from
sign,
us. Yeah.
Right. That Instagram, those signs are all over the country. People know it, right? I have friends from all over that send me screenshots of the sign. I'm like, I know, I drove by it today. I know. But the El Arroyo sign, and that's where y'all were. I mean, and that's still opening. I'm sure they went through their own stuff, but like they're still open and running. Is that their only
store left? I think that might be their only store.
Right. Well, and I would say the biggest change in Austin in general since COVID is the restaurant business. Outside, because our traffic's so bad, there was already a lot of remote workers, so it just made it better for a lot of those people. Just stay at home.
Yeah.
But I do know of quite a few that are now being forced, to go back to the office. But, that's 4 years too late for a restaurant that's trying to make it.
Yeah. The University of Texas, all their employees had to come back January. Whole Foods had to come back, which is right on 5th Street. And I was like, great. Well, 4 years too late.
Right.
And Dell and Round Rock, they all have to come back as well. So I'm like, good. Come on over to Cover 3.
And I have some friends that are, work for the state or whatever, and they're making where they used to be 5 days a week, they can maybe do 1 or 2 now from home, but they have to be in the office at least 3 days a week, things like that. So it is coming back, but our traffic is so bad that wasn't really unheard of. But the whole you don't think about, no one's eating lunch out anymore because they're running in and out, or they're revamping their schedule where they're in the office but they're in at 7 to 3 instead of so they'll just wait till they get home to eat or whatever the case may be. Yeah, well, that's what. So you lost one store, you lost some staff, it sounds like, obviously, too. You had to make a lot of changes. And then even in the restaurant business, there's a lot of changes, like for a while you couldn't have salt and pepper on the table, or I mean, so many things that cost y'all.
Literally, I'm not lying, Jamie. Some of that I have blocked out.
Well, and that cost y'all money. Things like
plexiglass, having to install plexiglass
everywhere.
just for the comfort of just for the feeling of security for your
It was
guests.
optics. It wasn't real. It was optics.
It was optics, and then paying for this germ buster thing that they would come in every night and you had to have that stick. You didn't have to, but for the feelings of your guests, you had to pay for that service, which you never paid for before, and I don't think it made one bit of difference.
Right.
But you got to put the sticker on your door that said you were doing it.
Right.
So a lot of increased outgoing
health.
Yes.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, too much government oversight, frankly, but
Too much craziness.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we made it through COVID. Kids are out of college.
In the process of being out, 2020 and 2023. So.
And at what point do you now meet up with? Because Whiskey Ridge
The idea started before COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could have been here a lot quicker.
Okay. But
So
y'all
the
were like,
idea.
we're going to pump the brakes. Okay. So Whiskey Ridge is the great new restaurant that's in Hays County that we all love. Like I said, y'all opened in
November 11th.
And my husband and I think we've been 12 times by now.
We appreciate
So
you.
that's how we've become friends with
Yes.
Katie and Doug. We actually didn't know them at all before, but we just frequent the restaurant. And so bold moving right across the street from Hays City Store, which had pretty much a monopoly in the area in the sense that they were the only restaurant around that area. It's kind of desolate and out in the middle of nowhere, which everyone loves. I mean, that's why we live out that way, is that you're not right in the hustle and bustle. But we love Travis and his wife. They're great people, great restaurant. They've done an excellent job. It's very family friendly, kid friendly, but still has great food, great drinks, whatever. And so I think a lot of people, I'm just saying this as someone who lives in the area, we were like, ooh, what's this going to do? Is this going to... Now, luckily, if you've been to Whiskey Ridge, great food, similar but different. And also a totally different vibe. Totally different vibe. And I know y'all are cool with them. Like it's not there's no ill will, but
fun fact.
I was going to say, what made you go, this is the corner I'm building a restaurant on?
Well, not that, but fun fact is that Tamara, Travis's wife, and Doug used to work together.
Oh.
Yes, at ZT House.
So there you go.
So we have a long history with them.
We love them. We're so glad. If you didn't know, Tamara and Travis also opened Taste in Buda.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite fine dining establishment. I call it that because we're still allowed to wear sweatpants because it's Hays County, but it is a fine dining establishment, or at least I do. I mean, maybe not. Y'all are lucky. Y'all have me dressed fancy today. I even put jeans on. But great restaurant there too. Great food, great drinks. Love them as well. But so y'all knew each other. How did you find that corner?
So the people that own the property where Whiskey Ridge is are it's Vicki and Travis Cox.
Yes, I actually have known Travis my whole life.
I love Travis.
Travis's dad and my dad were best friends in high school.
Oh.
And I went to high school with Travis. He's a year older than me, and then his brother's a year older than my brother. So we've grown up together. Yeah,
I love it.
That's the beauty of Hays County.
It is the beauty.
We all know each other, Austin area.
I love it. So basically, they were going to develop that corner.
Okay.
So they were looking for a restaurant. They were looking for a couple of concepts, and so they reached out. We had a mutual friend, and so the mutual friend connected us, and we met them and literally fell in love with them. We were like, gosh,
these
are
our
talking
people.
partners. These are literally, that's what we said. These are our people.
Right.
And so there was a lot of meetings, a lot of talking, I think they did a lot of research. They went to all of our restaurants that we didn't know that they were doing that. I found that. Vicki told me
They're
that
like
later.
undercover CEO
yes,
or undercover boss.
Yes, undercover boss.
Wearing the glasses and the mustache.
Yeah. So that all happened prior to COVID. And but then we pumped the brakes because we were like,
we've opened in a recession before.
Yeah.
We're not trying to do it
and
again.
we're trying to figure out if we can even keep these restaurants going and how long is this going to last. So
sure.
Yeah. So it's been in the works for a long time.
Okay. So you find the people, you find the land. When did y'all actually finally get to break ground? I saw a really fun photo, if we can, I'll have James find it, but of you and Doug on a pile of rocks.
Yes.
On your Facebook, I saw that. So clearly that was groundbreaking day or around
Groundbreaking day. Yes. 2023 is when we started. That building took almost a year.
Yeah.
It was
beautiful.
ground up.
It
Yes,
is
beautiful. It is beautiful.
And so I think the conversation I had with Doug was they had the land and helped do the building, and then y'all had everything inside, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
They basically own the land. They're in charge of all the outside, and then we're in charge of the inside. That's traditionally how restaurants work.
Okay. And so then you're like, okay, we have a building. Did we already have a name?
Yes. And the name came. There was a couple different variations
What
of this
was
name.
there? Because I want to know.
It was always when we walked, and I do want to preface this was I was not on this first walk. Whatever.
Sure.
They walked the property.
That walk didn't matter.
Yes, that walk didn't matter. Well, it kind of does.
Yeah.
They walked the property and initially thought the restaurant would be across from Hayes City. So more on the road right there on the corner.
Oh, like right up front.
Right up front.
Okay.
And then they walked the property, and as you walk up to the building now, it's a ridge.
Yeah.
It is a true ridge. You can see
It's
everything
elevated,
from up there. It's elevated. It's beautiful. And literally that was when the name was born. We knew it was going to be around whiskey. It could have been country, bar, something like that. But that's when they walked up there and said, no, this is where we want to put it.
And why not Vodka Ridge? Like who loves the whiskey? I mean, I'm not mad at it, but I don't drink whiskey. It makes me sick. But people, I know it's a shame.
I hate that for
I'm
you.
actually allergic to it. Like it's a thing.
that.
But my husband loves it, so he was very excited. And I don't mind. Y'all make a great Mexican martini, so I'm fine.
Yes.
But like, why not Tequila Ridge? Like what was?
Because what speaks to you? I mean Texas to me, to us. It was just whiskey speaks Texas.
Sure.
And what we wanted this to be.
Tequila Ridge wouldn't have worked with the vibe.
No.
By the way.
That's more of a Mexican thing, I feel.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So whiskey to us spoke Texas.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do something really unique. We wanted we tried very hard to source all our food from Texas vendors and ranches and the Gulf Coast or the Gulf of America. We're not
I actually
sure
saw
what to call that now.
Gulf of America.
I know. It's on the back
Just
of our
call it the
menu. I mean,
Gulf.
what should we do? That's what I said. I said, Doug, let's just call it the Gulf.
Yeah. I saw on Instagram the oyster farm tagged y'all the other day.
Oh my gosh, yes,
because
they're
they said if you want to
amazing.
find our oysters, this is where. And there was only like 3 restaurants, and y'all were one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're that's a very new company. And my friend actually works for that company.
Nice.
Tim Fading, I love him. And he actually reached out to me and said, hey, I really want you to try these.
Nice.
Could you try? And I was like, of course I will.
Yeah.
I mean, we may not grab them, but let's try them. And they have turned out to be one of my favorite things at the restaurant.
Good. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
so
I
good.
love that. I'm all about local too, trying to do whatever you can local. So I love, number one, that y'all open something, no offense, every now and then you need a Chili's or a, whatever. But love that we are having, I think being so close to Austin, it's been interesting to see the shift in food over the years, and that we've become kind of a foodie town. And that's even made these suburb towns, these smaller towns, restaurants, have to try a little harder, do a little more.
For sure.
And I love it for me. Because I like to eat and I don't like to cook, so it's perfect.
Yeah, same.
And I just don't really have a lot of time for all of it, so it's great. I'd rather drive the 10 minutes and let y'all cook for me. But so Whiskey Ridge speaks Texas. We put it up on the ridge. We broke ground. Now, who's cooking your food?
Steve Warner's cooking our food.
And
Chef Steve.
And how did you find him?
We've known him for a million years.
Wow.
The restaurant business is
community.
It is a small community and a slight fraternity almost. You know, like everybody knows everybody in a general way. Not everyone, but you kind of have your core
You've heard
groups.
of them at least.
Yes, and we've he worked for Guy and Larry for a long time. Guy and Larry have Red Ash, Jay Carver.
Yeah.
Started Hop Dottie, started Tumble 22. Zeta,
Nice.
It goes back. Their restaurant experience is invaluable, and the people they have in their, all their restaurants is amazing. They have Boulevard and ATX Casino as well. So, he worked for them, and they sold where he was working. They sold that group of restaurants, and so he was looking for something, and we were looking for something, and it just again, I feel like God said, "Here you go,
here he is."
Yeah, I just don't feel like that was an accident. I don't believe in coincidence, and he has been the perfect fit for us.
Yeah.
So we had him about a year before we opened, so he has been instrumental in the entire menu.
Okay.
Lots of tastings.
So
lots of fun stuff.
I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it works. You you have a chef, he's good, but you don't have a menu. So do you take a year to sit down and literally say,
you do.
Yeah.
It's
I'd gain
process.
100 pounds in that year. I'd be like, all right, let's try that short rib again. I don't
Yes.
know if
I think we should tweak that. Let's try it
because-
again. And we did there was a lot of tweaking. We did tastings every week, and we would invite people that had invested in the restaurant, friends that have other chefs in the Austin area to come and taste. So it's a long process, and it is you do a lot of vetting.
I was gonna say, I mean, you have to have some tough skin a little bit
Chef has very tough skin.
Okay.
He is so funny. He doesn't let anything bother him.
Good, because if somebody comes in, they're like, "This is garbage."
I tend still
I'd be like,
to get
"Cool,
my
I'm
feelings
never
hurt."
cooking
Yes.
for you again."
I know.
My family does that, and that's what I've done.
Yeah,
Like,
you just don't do it anymore.
yeah, they're like,
I worked for owners that would do that. They would kick people out of the restaurant for complaining about the food.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like my family will kick all mine out because every time my husband's like, "I like food that's more homemade than this." I was like, "Then you should make it." Because
Then home make it.
You know what? Drive to Whiskey Ridge because
Yeah.
I'm not making you your prime rib or your ribeye that you want.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He has tough skin, and he's done it all before, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't let it. It still hurts my feelings. Sometimes I don't read reviews because people are mean.
Oh, yeah.
They
Well,
are mean.
and 98% of reviews are only to complain.
Yeah.
It's very rare, especially when, if Yelp and I feel bad, I should be better, or Open Table pops up and says, "How was your time at Whiskey Ridge?" I'm like, "It was great, delete." But, if somebody had a terrible experience, they're going to be like, "Here's my time to just complain and
Here's
say
my
all the
time to be
things."
mean.
And, and be
And I'm
mean.
like, we've been open
I'm going to get you.
Minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try not to read them anymore just because it hurts my feelings. Somebody is reading them, but it's not me.
So do y'all have someone that's in, like, you're part of your PR company or something?
No, just part of our team that does that.
Just to make sure nothing gets really
Yeah.
missed.
And I do read some of them, but
Yeah.
yeah. Because we do try to address if there's an issue. My favorite thing is when there is an issue and somebody takes the time to send us a private message on social media and say, "Hey, I didn't want to blast you on anything,
Well, that's
but I wanted
kind
to
of
take
them.
And I was like, that is how you get change. And that's how.
Right. How things should be handled.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Is,
Like adults.
right. That's right.
And I just want to say that anybody that does that, I do appreciate that. And I always pass it on.
Or address the issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Right.
Yeah.
I
And
can-
sometimes we are people serving people.
Right.
There are going to be some blips
Human errors,
Yes,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. Like me, I'm the worst. I'm surprised you're here with me today because we actually did we usually only do date night on Monday, but because of Open Table, which brilliant being on that, I looked and I got an alert that was like, "Hey, 6:45 on Valentine's," which was a Friday night, which was like perfect dinner time. An opening came. I was like, "Sweet, we're going to go out for Valentine's Day." So we go, we have a few cocktails. Our friends end up sitting next to us. Doug comes over, starts talking to us. Apparently somewhere in there, sweet Brian brought me the check. I put my card in it. We keep chatting. I get up. I tell everyone goodbye. I leave. And I'm not kidding you. I went home and I went to sleep because it was Friday and it had been a busy day. And I woke up at like 7:45 the next morning in a sweat. And I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't sign the bill." Like I remember looking at it and I remember saying something to Kevin about it and setting it down. I even know the amount I was going to tip because I'm one of those weird people that I want my number to be an even,
Yes.
like when like
Same.
exactly $200 or whatever when I'm done. I even knew that amount and I didn't sign it and I left it.
We knew where to find
I
you.
know. And I have Brian's left me 2 voicemails at 10:45 that night when y'all were trying to close. I was dead asleep. But it was funny because I woke up before even knowing I had phone calls and I was like, "I am the worst." And so
You came in the next day and
I know.
signed it.
And he wasn't stressed about it. But he was like, "Well, we just, closed it out and we put like 15% pre-tax." I was like, No. Inevitably, I'm going to do this again because I plan on being here a lot more. You can always do 20% on the taxed amount minimum and close me out. I'm sorry. And he was like, "It's fine. It's fine. Everyone always comes back." I was like, "I've never done that before." But anyway, so thank you for,
Of course.
I guess some
And that's a
people-
great thing when you know your customers.
That's
You
right.
know
Yeah,
your
yeah.
guests.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, but so you have the menu that you sit down with your chef, you create, and it's a great one.
It is a great one.
So
and
now,
he did bring things on there that I thought, that does not sound good.
oh,
Then
like
I-
what?
Like, I never thought I would like the cream corn with the spinach.
Oh,
I was like,
I don't
that
think I
sounds
tried
so
it because
weird.
you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever tried
It
it.
is so darn
But I do like
good.
cream spinach and I do like cream corn. So why wouldn't I like
And
them
the
together?
corn is more like shaved off a cob. So
Even better.
it's kernels.
Yeah.
And it has like an au gratin on the top. Delicious.
Okay, note to
So
self.
try
Okay,
that.
I
It's a
will
great shareable.
I'll try that. My husband doesn't eat vegetables, so when
It's
when
corn
I go
with cheese and
friends-
cream, so he might get past the veggie part.
No, it's still it's almost healthy. It's not, but it almost is.
It's so good.
But if you put it in French fry form, he might eat it.
Ah.
So now you have to staff the place, and this is a pretty big staff.
It's a giant staff.
Because
and I also want to preface this with like entirely different concept, a different
Totally
location,
different.
a different community, a
Very
different menu, different drinks, different everything. So
different demographic,
different everything.
different. Like in Austin, you can get away with charging probably a little more for things too. In Austin, the biggest thing, and I guess Austin is kind of like this, but I feel like it has changed in the last 10, 20 years since all of California moved here. But, I actually remember I got a job to open up, this is before the radio job. I was just trying to make money, to open up the Neiman Marcus that's at the Domain. And I remember sitting in the first training, and one of the training ladies who worked, I think, for Nordstrom in Austin, told all the girls that had come in from Dallas that are dressed to the nines, listen, this is not Dallas. Matthew McConaughey will walk in with a Holy t-shirt and flip-flops and spend more money than the guy dressed in a 3-piece suit. So you cannot judge people based on how they look when they walk in. I think Austin's changed a little bit because of that, but I definitely think all of us from Austin have moved to Hayes County, and that's how we are. So like, I think the first time I went into your restaurant, I was like, it's Monday night, whatever. I was wearing leggings and a workout shirt and tennis shoes. But then I also walked in on Valentine's Day wearing, a fancy dress and very expensive shoes, right? So it's like it goes all different ways, which is great. And again, speaks to you guys as, you're kind of an environment where show up as you are, which I love. But so how do you find your staff and how do you train them totally differently than the staff you've had before?
Yeah, so basically we did a job fair and advertised it on several places, Indeed, and then there was a couple other websites that we advertised. And the majority of our servers initially came from Texas State.
I was going to say, I think most of the time that's where we pull from,
Yes. And so we were very lucky. I think people were excited about Whiskey Ridge. I think when they got in and saw the price point, like, it's not crazy expensive, but it's not casual dining. It's just leveled up from casual. So a little bit more expensive, but not pricey, I would say. So I think they were a little bit excited. They thought
I'm kind of the mindset, if I'm going to spend $100 at Chili's, I'll spend $150 and get a better meal with you guys. Yeah. That's kind of how my family rolls, but that's just,
And someone in the restaurant business, I mean, every prices just continue to go up.
Right.
I mean, everybody knows how much you're paying for eggs, but eggs are in a lot of our stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pricey. Anyway, so we had a job fair. They, when we were getting ready to open, we had people there so people could come in even before we were open in construction phase. So we were doing a lot of interviewing there. Kitchen staff came primarily from our sous chef that lived in the area and had great contacts. So he and Steve filled the kitchen. Jack and Caleb, who are two, Jack's our AGM, is our son, and then Caleb is the bar manager. They worked with Jimmy Joe, who's our operating partner.
Love Jimmy Joe.
Oh, we love it. Jimmy Joe went to Hayes.
Okay.
He's from this area.
So did y'all find him around here?
I've known Jimmy almost as long as I've known Doug.
Oh.
He worked with us at Ziteos. He was one of the original employees at Cover 3 and has been with us the entire time.
Nice. Okay.
He was eventually over Cover 2 and the Round Rock store. And then we always knew that he would be our operating partner here just because he has the contacts. He's from here.
I was going to say, is he still down here, like living here?
Yeah, he's renting here now because trying to figure out where he's going to end up living. But yeah, he lives here. So yeah, we were just very lucky and again, feel very blessed. I think I say that to myself every day, how blessed we feel about how great the community has been to us, how great that we were able to hire such great staff.
Yeah, because I mean, they're all still there. I feel like the guy who I stiffed on Valentine's, I asked him, I said, how long have you worked here? He said, since before we opened. I was like, yeah, because I mean, I've had a couple of servers multiple times.
Yeah.
And then every now and then when I feel like it's a new face, you just ask. But y'all,
Absolutely.
I mean, clearly y'all are taking care of your people because they're all sticking around and they all are happy and they do a great job.
And I love them all.
Yeah.
I love them. They're just, I feel, again, just very happy and thrilled that we have gotten such great people.
Well, and they're young, but they're not new.
Right.
Like they're experienced, you can tell.
The majority of them have
done something, worked somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Have experience.
And talk about how, because I think this is amazing, you live in, not north, but central to past downtown Austin.
Mm-hmm.
However, this restaurant is in North Hayes County, which for anyone who doesn't know, especially at 5 o'clock with traffic, that can be over an hour drive. What did you guys do when you opened the restaurant?
We rented an Airbnb here for 3 months.
Was that like a frat house?
Well, it wasn't. Sort of, kinda.
Yeah.
There were a lot of men in the house.
Yeah. That's why I asked.
Yes,
I know
it kind
every
of was.
server I talked to, they're like, "Oh, we're just living with Katie and Doug right now." The bartender Caleb, I think, was right.
Yes.
And,
So he's our bar manager, and actually Caleb is a lifelong friend of ours too.
Yes.
Like he went to he grew up in the same neighborhood where we lived when the kids we raised our kids. I love his parents. His dad was a football coach at the local high school. He's like, they're our people.
Yeah.
Like, we love them. And so after he graduated from Tarleton, we literally recruited him because he was going to get a coaching job, and we're like, you can always coach later.
Yeah.
Why don't you try this, because you're so good at it.
Sure.
So we were very lucky.
He makes a very good Mexican martini.
He
Heads
does.
up.
He's a great kid too. Well, he's a young man.
Yes.
What was your question?
The living in the frat house.
Oh yeah, kind of blocked that out.
Yeah.
It was actually fabulous. It was basically a barn that had been like a barn dominium.
Yeah.
So Matt and Kathy Dotson stayed in the room upstairs, and then there was a loft area where Saki, our bartender, my son Caleb,
Saki also has waited on us because
yes,
one time we snuck up to the bar. Yep.
and Saki's fabulous.
Yes.
He's actually been with us since high school.
Okay.
So he worked at Cover 2, started as a server and ended up bartending.
And again, if you know where Cover 2 is in comparison to where Whiskey Ridge is, it's quite a hike. So you not only staffed this place, but helped these kids out because
Absolutely.
that's quite a hike. So are a lot of them migrating this way?
Well, my son and daughter had bought a house a year ago, and that's in very South Austin.
Okay.
So Slaughter
not
and
so
Mopac.
bad.
So
Yeah.
it takes them like 25 minutes
Yeah,
to get here. So
that's not bad.
That's fine for
Yeah.
them. And Saki and Caleb now live there too.
So that's now the frat house.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
with my daughter who's
Yeah.
loving that.
Yeah,
now.
I'm sure.
It works out great. They're just great people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good, kind people, and I just couldn't ask for better for my kids or for my business. Just very lucky.
And then we kind of touched on it before, and you mentioned it, so that's why I bring it up. You're talking about, the community and people taking you in and being so kind to you guys. Like, how has it been with Travis and Tamara? Like, I know I want to say I even saw that you were eating there one day, and then
for
I think they were there one day.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, and then now there's a bar next door, which that's super fun. If you have too many Mexican martinis and you just go next door to the Mean-Eyed Cat. And that is an old Austin favorite that has moved down here too. I know that's not your business, but how did that end up getting added onto the corner?
Well, they were looking for something like that.
Yeah.
And Doug and Matt are both very good friends with Matt Lucky, who owns Mean-Eyed Cat. And so Doug had talked to Matt Lucky about it, and so literally got him to come there.
Yeah. And is there still one in Austin?
Yeah.
Okay,
on Fifth
so
Street, literally
across
very close
to where y'all were.
Right.
Right. That's what some friends were like. Have I been there before? I said yes. Every time we do the pub crawler, you stop.
Yeah.
Stop at
You
the
stop
Mean-Eyed
there.
Cat. Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah. It is a
And
classic.
it's a good fit here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a great fit.
Like I said, the 2 times we've stumbled over there, we had a great time and always run into friends there. No matter, I think once was a Monday night and still managed to run. I mean, it was over the holidays, but
a lot of times we'll have a wait for walk-in, which we do take reservations. We always encourage reservations through our online
Open Table.
But go to our website and make your reservation through Open Table.
That's
from
how
our
I
website.
do it. I
Thank
click
you.
there and then it
I
takes me
appreciate
there
that.
because I don't remember to go to Open Table, but then it
Yeah.
always happens. So,
Yes.
yeah. And if you do that and you have an Open Table account without even asking, like me, then it alerts you if something opens up in the time frame you were looking, which is great.
Exactly. So do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do save some space for walk-ins. So a lot of times we'll be on a wait, and we always suggest go and have a cocktail. We'll text you, and you can walk over to Mean-Eyed Cat and then come back when we text you. So it works out great.
It's great reciprocity. You
Yes.
get them. They go there before and go there after, so it's good for them, obviously too. So here's the $1 million question.
I'm ready.
You're on your deathbed.
Yes.
You get one meal starting from your cocktail to your dessert from Whiskey Ridge. What are you ordering?
Okay. I'm ready. Well, first for my cocktail, I'm having the Driftwood Dove.
Driftwood Dove. Okay.
It's our take on a Paloma.
Okay.
It's delicious.
Is it tequila?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know
grapefruit.
because there was. I
Yes.
noticed something unique y'all do. Your espresso martini is whiskey, which it looked delicious, but I couldn't have it. But
Well, it's bourbon. It's
or
the,
bourbon. I'm
yeah.
sorry, it is
Well,
bourbon.
You know,
So yeah, again,
you
I
said
don't drink
tomato,
it,
tomato.
so it all seems
It's
the
a
same
brown
to me.
sugar.
Yeah, that's right.
bourbon too, but that will be at my end of my meal.
Okay, that's your dessert. Okay,
Yes.
so we're starting with the
Yes.
driftwood dove.
So I probably wouldn't have all of these things, but it is my deathbed.
No, it's your
so-
deathbed, so you have
so
them all.
I would have the driftwood dove would be where I would start,
Okay.
and then I would start with a dozen of the Clearwater oysters.
Okay.
So just for these oysters are farm raised in Port Aransas on top of the water. So they never go down in the muck and the mud where all the nasty stuff is.
Oh.
Well, nasty, I'm sure it's fine. But they're raised on top. And so they're very light, small, and briny. So they're not giant. You know how some
Right.
Gulf oysters are very large?
Yes.
These are not. They're small, briny, and so yummy.
And by briny, you basically mean salty and
Salty
delicious.
and
Yeah.
delicious.
Okay. That's code for
small.
salty and delicious.
Yes.
And
so I'd have all
small,
those
so
by
they're
myself.
easy to swallow
Yes,
and all that. Yeah.
easy to eat. One bite, they're delicious.
Okay. I
And
don't
then
eat
after
oysters,
that-
but you almost have me at briny.
Okay.
But go ahead.
You
Well,
should-
actually, you really had me when you said they don't go all the way down and get the nasty, gross, mucky stuff.
Yes.
Because that's
Check
the part.
out their website because their website is super cool and it shows you the process of how it works
Huh.
and it shows you pictures of how they're
What's
grown
their
on
website?
top.
So we
I
know.
think it's clearwateroysters.com.
There we go. We'll look.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So the driftwood
And also
dove.
a small local business there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So driftwood dove followed by oysters.
Mhm. And then I'm going to have another appetizer because why not? And I love the salmon dip. It's so good. And it comes with cheese crostinis.
Okay.
And it has capers and lemon and Tabasco and it's salmon. It's chunks of salmon. It's delicious.
Okay. Good to
So I
know.
would have that.
Okay.
Then I would have the filet,
Mm-hmm.
medium rare,
That's right. Cooked the right way.
cooked the
Because
right
you're
way.
gonna die,
and I would also have the corn and spinach, cream corn and spinach. And because it's my deathbed, I would have the mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese. I eat it
Yes.
every night, so maybe I'm dying soon. I don't know.
Yes,
but that's
it's delicious.
always ordered.
Yes. So
A
I would
lot.
have that.
Actually, I'll go next. Go ahead.
Yes.
keep
So I would
going.
have that.
Mhm.
And then for dessert, I would have our butterscotch custard.
Very good.
Because that doesn't sound like you're like, well, butterscotch custard. It is so light and fluffy and fabulous. Has a brandy base.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. It's
So
just
good.
like heaven in your mouth.
So good.
So good. And it's big enough to share. Like all our desserts are shareable.
You
like,
want to
for
hear
2 or
my
3 people.
fattest day ever? Not really, because I've probably been fatter, but I had a fat day. I actually ordered the butterscotch and the chocolate because I couldn't decide
Yeah.
custard.
Yeah.
And then I had a bite of each of them and each spoonful.
And
You should make that a thing. Make it where you can somebody could get like a half and half. It's life changing
I
to
will
have them
tell
together.
Steve that, and I've not had it together. Huh. Sometimes I'll have that for my dinner. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I don't blame
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Butterscotch.
I would do mac and cheese and butterscotch custard.
Yeah.
But no, so I got one of each and then I took it home. So I didn't eat it all there, but I ate one serving worth
Yes.
and by eating half of each. But I'll tell you what, you could do a half, like a black and white or a half and half, call it whatever you want, but where it's like half of each.
That I will actually talk to Chef Steve
Just
about
saying,
that.
because some
a great
people
idea.
are like,
Uh-huh.
can't decide between which one. If we had that, we wouldn't have to worry about it. So
And then I'd wrap it up with an espresso
that
martini.
espresso martini,
with
which
our-
again
uh-huh.
is different because it's bourbon, not vodka.
Well, it's a brown sugar bourbon. I bet we could look up that. Yes, and there's Maddie, our
Serving
sweet
one,
Maddie.
yeah.
Yes, who also attends Texas State and is doing her student teaching in Wimberley.
Oh, so that's
Yes.
perfect.
Yes, she's lovely.
So if I was on my deathbed, I would for sure get the Mexican martini. And what I love about Caleb is he shakes it so well that it's like frothy and frozen.
And that's the difference with our cocktails here. They're leveled up. They are.
I mean,
it's not coming out of a batch of anything. It is shaken. It is made for you.
and the first time that I had it from, like I'd ordered it before, but I sat at the bar and had it with him. And he did that. I was like, you've just ruined it for every other bartender because that's how I now order it. I'm like, it's like almost like a Frosty or like a Slurpee. It's so good. So I do that with tahini on the rim. And then I would actually start, my husband and I always share your Caesar salad. It's really good.
The knife and fork.
Knife
Caesar.
and fork Caesar, and you do need a knife and fork for it. And then a cup of the gumbo.
Oh, Steve's gumbo.
It's really good.
And it's different. It's not like a traditional Louisiana gumbo. Steve says all the time that this is his gumbo. His take of gumbo
Yeah.
is so delicious.
It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm torn, but I'm pretty sure, thanks to Doug, I would go fried chicken.
All right, Doug.
It is, whew, like I do love like honorable mention. I love the short rib, But that fried chicken changed my life one night.
Yeah.
I was like, where has this been every time I've eaten it with mac and cheese? But y'all's green beans are like candy.
Yeah.
I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, it's not actually a vegetable. There's so much bacon fat and amazingness and salt and pepper in it. Just eat it. Please, you'll love it.
Yeah.
And he never will. But I can eat an entire bowl of those green beans on my own. They are
I'm so
good.
glad you brought that up because we get some grief about that.
What?
People either love them or they hate them.
I tell everybody, if you aren't ordering the green beans, you're wasting your time.
Yes. Some people do not like them.
What about why?
I
Why
don't
they
know.
don't like good food? Who is it? Are they
That
the
was
same complainers that complain
literally
online?
one of the last reviews that hurt my feelings. No. it didn't
Yeah,
hurt my feelings.
well, it will hurt
Yeah,
mine if
I
it's
know.
mean about the green
Ah.
beans.
And I love the green beans. Those are the green beans that I grew up on. That's how we prepared our green beans. So
so you don't know you're eating a
100%.
vegetable. That's the whole
Yes,
point.
I know. But anyway,
That's why you
some
put
people
cream
love
and
them, some
corn
people
and
hate them.
spinach,
I
so you don't
know.
know you're eating a vegetable. People
So,
come.
yeah.
What? So what? They want
They
like
do-
the raw, snappy, crispy
Yes.
ones. All right. Well, go somewhere else. Go next door and get those. They have those.
I know, and then I also want to say it's just a preference. If
Yeah,
you don't
that's
like
right.
those, just don't order them.
That's right. Order
Yes,
mac and
just
cheese or order a
yes,
salad.
or mashed potatoes.
Right. Yeah. So
Or
I
our
do.
new mushrooms, our cremini mushrooms. We added that to the menu.
Okay.
Cremini mushrooms.
Yeah. So I do the fried chicken, but I do gravy on the side so I can control.
Yeah, love it.
Because I don't like it soggy, but I want gravy on every bite, but then I can dip it with the green beans. And then I know it changes seasonally, but right now you have the blackberry apple cobbler.
So good.
Oh,
With the Mexican vanilla ice cream.
I
Yes.
ate the whole thing by myself on Valentine's.
Oh, well, it was Valentine's.
Kevin had one bite of an apple. And I was like, you're done, right? Because I'm about to take care of this. And I ate the entire thing, which is probably another reason why I couldn't function and sign my
Yeah.
bill, because I was full on cobbler. But that cobbler, and I do think part of it is right, because what's great is it's seasonal. You do whatever fruit is good at the time. And I prefer apple to peach. I prefer blackberry and raspberry to anything else. So at least right now,
It's your favorite.
it is so good. And then
And we only make a certain amount of desserts every day, so they'll make sure they're fresh.
Right.
And so when we're sold out, we're sold
There
out.
you go.
So.
And I would wrap it up with another Mexican martini because
There you go.
they're
Not
so
even
good.
a different thing, huh?
No. I mean, I've learned in my old age.
You like what you like.
Well, that and some things are safer for me to drink than others.
Oh,
Like
totally understand
I have
that.
friends that are always like, "Hey, let's get a bottle of wine." I'm like, you don't really want me drinking wine. I start speaking in tongues. It's not biblical.
Yes.
No, nothing good comes from that. And then I like beer, but it's heavier. So I'll drink if I know I'm going out and we're going to have a drink, I'll get a good beer. Like I love a Yingling on tap.
Yeah.
I love a Hefeweizen on tap. But I'm not going to drink 10 beers ever. But if I'm sitting and having a meal, I want something like I like the Mexican martini. It's lighter. I like the flavor. But also probably the only liquor that likes me back is tequila. All the
nice.
rest.
See, I love wine, but it doesn't really like me back anymore.
Yeah.
And that's my age,
I hear
believe.
that. I hear
Yes.
that happens.
one thing
Luckily,
I love
it's been mean to me since I tried it the first time. So I just knew
it's
better.
liked me for a while, but then all of a sudden it just doesn't like me anymore.
Yeah.
I will say I love that we have a thing called the cuvee system at
Where it's on the
Whiskey
tap?
Ridge. Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, they're higher end wines that you can order by the glass. So you don't have to order a bottle, and they stay because of the technology.
They
They
stay-
stay fresh for up to 6 weeks in
So,
that bottle.
Fun fact, I learned this about you, and I had never met you. The first time we ever went, Kevin and I, when I'm in sweats, he orders the ribeye because that's what he'll always order.
It's delicious and a very top in our number, very close to the top.
Very
seller.
good. He's done the filet and he liked that too. But
Yeah.
if he's on his deathbed, 100% he's ordering the ribeye, triple French fries, and maybe mac and cheese. Really healthy. So he might be on his deathbed soon. But it's cooked medium rare, so
Yep,
that's fine.
there you go.
But so he had ordered maybe a cocktail, and I think he told the server, and I know this server is one of y'all's, like y'all have had him around for a while, and told him like, and when my steak comes, I will want a glass of wine. And we are looking at the wine menu that's on the table, which isn't all of those that are in
No,
the, yeah.
there's only a certain.
So there's only certain
8.
ones that are actually in the menu. So he comes up and he's like, I know a great glass of wine that's going to be great with this steak. And Kevin was like, yeah, I want it. And
The soul of the lion.
the soul of the lion. So then
This is something we should edit out.
well, really, it's great because it's fine. Just knowing it. No, it's so good. This is the funny
It
part.
is so good.
This is the funny part of the story. And no one was upset at the end. It was just funny how it all happened. So the order goes in. 30 seconds later, a mutual friend of ours, who is someone who's probably the only people that have eaten there more than us, who was there on one of the opening nights with you guys. The waiter comes and sets the wine down in front of my husband, and he's standing there chatting with us, and he goes, "Oh yeah, and this is this guy's favorite wine too, the server."
Oh.
And he was like, "Oh, you got the soul of the lion, da da da." He was like, "I love that, man." He was like, "Yeah, me and the owner's wife, one of the first nights we were like, oh, let's get some, whatever." And I guess y'all do you have it on bottle too?
We do.
Yeah. So y'all opened a bottle, and you go, "Oops, this is the one that's $45 a glass." And he's like, "Oh well, it's fine. It's opening night." And that was, and I stopped and I looked at Kevin. I was like, "You just ordered a $45 glass of wine?" He's like, "Yeah, but it's really good." And I was
It
like,
is really
"Well,
good.
Whatever."
And I actually, on my deathbed, I forgot to say that with
You would
my
add
filet that I would have the soul of the lion.
alongside. Yeah.
Yes,
So
of course.
apparently that's the best. And he said, he was like,
It's a Dow product. It's fabulous.
I think he did order a glass of that on Valentine's too with his steak because
Oh,
he's
good.
like,
That
it's
makes me
No,
happy.
and again, we were all
Yeah.
about learning the experience,
experience.
but it was just so funny because I had been looking at the wine list, which was a different price point. And then he came up and said that, and he was like, "It really is the best wine." And Kevin takes a sip. He's like, "Sure is." So
Sure is.
but so just know there's really
And
good
occasionally,
wines.
yes, I do treat myself, but then a lot of times I'll just have like the regular,
But that's the other nice thing is y'all have like the bourbon wall,
Absolutely.
whiskey
yes.
wall
Mhm.
on
We
the
have
ridge.
over 124 options.
And some of those are higher end. So again, it's like you can go in and you can have a Yingling on draft.
Yep.
Or some bourbon that's only found wherever. So speak to that, because I think y'all have specific wines that are higher end and
Right.
whiskey, and some people will go to a restaurant just for that. So
We have all the Pappies, which is unusual, so we're very proud of that.
Okay.
Pappies are very sought after, and a lot of these items, it's just hard to get them. It's not that they're crazy expensive by themselves, but they're elusive.
right.
They're hard to
Yeah, you're
get.
not ordering them from like a wholesale liquor store.
No,
Yeah.
and you're not walking into any liquor store and being able to purchase them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's very
So for
they're-
some people, they're like, "I'm making a trip to Whiskey Ridge because I can
absolutely.
get." Yeah.
So we have quite a few of those allocated items, which is very nice.
You have the frozen.
Oh, the frozen old fashioned made with
Yeah.
Still Austin, which is a local
Yeah.
spirits
It's
place.
too cold
And-
right now to have it.
Oh, no.
That's why I'm
Still-
wearing these
no.
crazy
Still
boots.
number one seller if it's over food, over everything.
Really?
The frozen old fashioned is the number one seller.
Wow.
It is like an adult Slurpee.
Right.
With a little floater of Still Austin on top with a cherry. And it is, I do love bourbon and whiskey, but I wouldn't drink it every day or all the time. Those are so, it's like
A treat.
an adult Slurpee.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's delicious.
Well, when it's hot, my husband has ordered those frozen like Jack and Cokes and things from places and likes them.
Oh,
You
he'll
know,
love it.
it's like having a margarita if you do get one frozen for me. But I see that one in the all the time in the machine to keep it frozen, and he's always like, "Man, if it were warmer, I'd get one." Because
Well, it's coming.
I know. So yeah, don't worry, it will be hot soon. But it is 22 degrees today, so we're
It
a little
is.
upset around here.
It
So
was snowing this morning too when I
Right.
left my house.
so you have all the different fancy bourbons and whiskeys, and then talk
Yes.
about the wines.
So a lot of wines, a lot of beautiful wines. We do have some Texas options as well, but the majority is we have a wide variety. So you can come in and have, a 10 for your, just
So do
depends
they-
on what you love.
Do we need
The
to
majority
ask
of-
for the special wine list? Is there a different one?
No.
Okay.
It's just if you want to have a wine from the wine keeper. So if you'd like a higher end of wine, but you don't want the whole bottle, like maybe you're the only one at the table drinking that, and
Sure.
you want one or two glasses, you don't want to splurge on the whole bottle.
Sure.
You can just in the back of our menu, not the back, but on the back of the wine list, there is a little box that shows the wines that are in the keeper.
Nice.
So and it tells you a little bit about why they're special or why, what the technology is.
Sure. Well, I mean, and that's really cool because I know the only wine I sometimes drink is Malbec. And there's not always some restaurants that
We do
won't
have
do
a
them
nice-
by
yeah.
the glass.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have that option, especially if you're someone that you do like the higher end wine, and you just aren't going to buy a whole bottle for yourself or anything.
And if you're
else.
the only one at your table drinking it, you don't want to.
Right.
Yeah, totally get
Right. Well, so moving forward, Whiskey Ridge, and I could be dead wrong.
We'll see.
Yeah. Is is there room for part 2? Is that something y'all are considering?
I think that is definitely in the realm of possibilities.
Okay.
You know, we have literally loved the entire feeling of it out here.
Right.
Like we have fallen in love
Like you're
with the
moving?
community. Like, oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
definitely coming. It probably will be a year.
Listen, I would love you to buy up every corner of Driftwood and put some fun new concept on it. My thought, why I said I could be dead wrong, is I do feel like it's such the perfect concept for that corner of the world, for our demographic, for the people that are going there, that I do just wonder if you put it on another corner, would it have the same effect?
Yeah.
Or
knows?
do you just come up with some other really great new idea and plan? And
There, all these, Jamie, could be.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, right now we're just,
enjoying it.
and getting, and when you come in next, you'll see a couple tweaks to the menu. We did a reprint yesterday, so we have a couple new things on the menu
Nice.
that you haven't seen.
Okay.
And then in mid-March, we're going to be introducing Sunday brunch. Yes.
You're speaking my love language.
So it will be a buffet in the back Ranger room. So we
Sure.
do have a private dining room.
Yep, I've
So
been
it
in
will
it.
be in the back. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Ranger room because, of many Texas Ranger connections that we all have.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is a retired Texas Ranger.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And Hayes County was founded by a Ranger. So anyway, we'll have a buffet back there, and we'll also have a Bloody Mary bar and a Bubbles bar that you can make your own cocktails back
Nice.
there. So yeah, it's gonna be super cool.
That's
We're
super
thinking
exciting.
mid-March. Mm-hmm.
Brunch is my love language. One of the
Same.
reasons why I say that's frustrating with this town, as much as it's a foodie town, and this is just me, I know it makes sense for y'all as restaurant owners, but like I want brunch on a Wednesday sometimes. And it's like
Same.
most nice restaurants only offer maybe Friday, but typically just Saturday, Sunday. I get it. That's when the crowd is there. But like, and now we have things like Snooze popping up. That's helpful. But I go to Scottsdale a lot and they have a ton of brunch only restaurants, and it just makes me really happy. But I'm just grateful that y'all are going to have that. That's exciting in general. Because brunch is my love. Like I am the person that if I could just have a bite of everything, that would make me very happy. I love going to like the Vegas buffets because
absolutely.
they're not like, it's not like Fur's cafeteria where you're plopping it on your
Although
plate.
I did grow up on Furs.
I
and
know.
I did love Furs.
Right.
And I still love Luby's.
I was going to, yeah.
But it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be more
It's
like
gonna-
that.
yeah.
It'll be an elevated experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And, but brunch is definitely my love language. So I'm excited for that. Well, the last thing I just want to speak to, just because I experienced it, and this is kind of how we met, is, with Whiskey Ridge, you have had a much bigger role
Right.
because now your kids are grown and gone. You're not having to be home. And I mean, the first 3-4 times we went, and really most of the time since, there's only maybe been twice that I've been there that you or Doug have not been there. It's a lot to open a restaurant, like hours and things like that. So just talk about the first month. You open on November 11th and y'all are thinking we could have 10 people walk in the door. We could have.
We had high expectations.
Okay, good.
And we thought we knew what Hayes City did. They do amazing business. And we thought if we just get their overflow, we'll be busy.
Right.
They have a great overflow.
Sure.
And so we thought we would be busy. We had no idea that we would be insane.
Yeah.
It
was insane. The first time I went was a Monday, and it was like, where are we going to sit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody came.
Everybody.
And we were so thankful, thankful, and felt so embraced by the community and just so blessed and lucky and all the things. So the first month was insane, and we didn't think we were ever going to, we had to order more bar stools, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do quite a few more things that we didn't expect because the volume,
Right.
which is also a great item to have to tackle.
Right.
So we've been
Yeah, I mean,
very
they're
blessed.
worse. You've been on the other side of that where no one's showing up.
Where you're
so.
standing in the dining room wanting
Alone.
to cry. Yes.
You're like, well, I guess I'll eat all the desserts you made
Yes,
today. Send me the
exactly.
butterscotch. Yeah.
Yes. Who needs food? I can bring it home for
Yeah.
you.
So yeah, I mean, I want to say I've been in there one time on a Monday, and it was more recent, because we all know it's interesting because y'all opened before the holidays, and holidays can be busy, but it's not like y'all were doing private Christmas parties. No. It was just people were like going to eat there.
And we're more of a destination. You're coming
Sure.
to really stay and enjoy a cocktail and sit out by the fireplace on the porch and have dinner and visit with your friends and family. And it is more of a destination. Like you're typically, maybe you drop by the Mead-Eyed Cat, but probably you're going home after that.
Right.
So people came, they brought their families, they brought large groups, and it was the holidays. So I think, family was in town, out of town family was there. And so everybody wanted to come to the new spot. So extraordinarily busy November, December.
So busy. But even January, like I know it's died down compared to those 2 months, but I think I've been one time on a Monday where there wasn't people waiting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was still busy. There were still people eating, but it wasn't, like, okay, there's a wait list. You have to, or good luck finding a spot at the bar. Yeah. But even since then, I think we popped in the one night we ate out at the bar with Saki. I think it was a Saturday night that we were able to kind of get away. And my gosh, like I like snuck in and squeezed in. I was like, listen, lady, it's cold. We want to snuggle because, and eventually y'all brought us a heater over and all of that. But I mean, we were all sitting outside in the freezing cold because we wanted to be there. We didn't even care. So it's a great spot. I know I'm very grateful that y'all are here, and I'm grateful that we've gotten to get to know each other a little bit better. And me, if I'm being selfish, I hope y'all open a restaurant on every other corner right there. And I hope it's a different concept, but all still wonderful.
And a brunch concept.
That's right. That's right. All brunch all the time. No, but I mean, I just think y'all are exactly what we needed around here. Again, we love the restaurateurs that are around here. They've done a great job, but I think it is nice to have new blood, new faces, fresh ideas. And
there's enough business here for many.
I mean, we're exploding.
Yes. And I say, I've looked over Hayes City Store. They're just as busy as they always ever were.
So we went Friday, Valentine's to y'all, and it was not great weather, but y'all were still very busy. And they still had cars in the parking lot. And, if you've never been to Hayes City Store, it does have more of an outdoor concept than indoor concept, but they have done an amazing job of keeping it warm and dry and whatever for, closing in the ice house area, all of that. They've done a really, really good job. But it's definitely more open. So when you have bad weather, it's going to naturally, hard. Y'all didn't necessarily steal anyone from them. It's just naturally. No. Yeah. But then we drove by the next day when I had to go back to get my credit card because I'm the jerk who didn't pay my bill.
And I saw you that day.
Yeah. That was the day I saw you. We saw Doug the night before. I blame Doug. He started chatting with us and I got distracted. But oh my gosh, I mean, I don't even think we're even close to the stop sign yet. And the cars for Hayes City Store were parked all the way out in their overflow. Yeah. And then we actually ended up going there Sunday night too. And they're not hurting.
Yeah. No, they're doing great.
Yeah. Y'all are all, and we all just make each other better. Like, I think, this is called Common Sense CEO, the podcast. It's meant to be, I am a financial advisor, so that is my background. But I think the most important thing that everybody should come to terms with is like money is not finite, right? Like if you create value for people, there is enough money in the world for everyone to be very well off. It's not like if you have it, then I don't. That's not how it has to work. And, so if everybody can embrace each other and just know, like, if you're winning, I'm winning, it doesn't have, you winning doesn't mean I'm losing.
And life in general, not just in business.
100%. I'm speaking on a more global level, but I think this is why y'all have also been so successful is nobody went in with bad blood. That place owned that corner. There are probably nights where they're like, thank God they're open because I've seen
our wait time was like 3 hours.
And again, love Travis. But I've seen him run around that place stressed out, like, where am I going to put people now? And again, they've done an amazing job. But I think what's great is now we get to go as the people, the patrons that visit your restaurants. We go, okay, do I want to put on real shoes or am I going to wear sweats? Are my kids going to be with me or not? And again, y'all are not kid friendly. I have taken my son once, my daughter not yet because she'll order the ribeye and she's a very expensive date.
You're raising her right.
At 10 years old, she'll say,
correct, though. That's how you do it. That's my daughter.
I want the ribeye medium rare. Don't overcook it. That's how she'll order it. So I need to find your thickest skin server because she won't complain online, but she'll let them know.
Which I would prefer it all day long. Just tell me in person.
Yeah. But I think as patrons, it's just so nice that we have some options in this area, especially where we're not having to get into the thick of Austin or even, it's gotten really hectic even in like little downtown Buda and Kyle. And some of those newer restaurants popping up are, one-offs and whatnot. But I mean, if I have to see another, and I love you, Chick-fil-A, but I mean, there's one literally on every corner. And there's a McDonald's on every corner. And there's a Chili's somehow on every corner. And I love Willie's, like not Willie's Joint. That's its own thing. Also great. But Willie's, Ice House or whatever it's called. Those are popping up on every corner. And they're great when you, need to pop in real quick and get a meal and go. But if you want to sit down and enjoy a conversation with your friends and your family, you guys, you and Hay City Store, without a doubt, are go-tos. And we really enjoy y'all in Whiskey Ridge, and we're really glad that y'all are here in the area. So
we feel, again, blessed to be here and just, very excited.
I think to the point you made earlier, God opened the door with who your business partners are, who had the land in the corner that they had, and then more also with who your demographic is and who you're serving, because I think anyone I speak to, number one, I've never heard anyone say they've had a bad meal. So good job, chef. You're killing it. And then number two, everybody is just so grateful to have that kind of spot here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
you
course.
Made it very
You're
easy
welcome.
And very conversational.
Well, and
Good
you're
job.
welcome back anytime. Hopefully to talk about a new restaurant, maybe brunch only. Bubbles and
it
brunch.
Could happen. It could totally happen.
It could. I'll get enough stay-at-home moms in our area board that we're all gonna.
Works for snooze.
I know.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, see, and all our meat is hand cut in the restaurant. We hand cut every piece, and that's chef right there.
Oh, well, next time we'll just tell him, Chef, cut Kevin's ribeye a little thicker. No,
Yeah.
I know that you weigh it, but shh.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Nice and thick those are.
They are
know,
nice
they are
and
beautiful.
thick. And they are good.
Beautiful.
I've had the filet. Again, the short rib. Oh, that's my
Over the
honorable
grits,
mention. But
the jalapeno grits.
I didn't
Yes,
even
so
think you
good.
could make fried chicken that good. But man, it is good.
It is really good.
Really
It's
good.
one of Doug's favorites.
And
It's
whoever
funny.
doesn't like the green beans, you're wrong. Sorry.